beautiful people, and welcome back to Piece of Happiness 101. And today we have another phenomenal video for you guys. Dating can be fun. Dating can be exciting. Dating can be funny. Dating can also be a little bit awkward. But there's one thing that we can all agree on is that dating also brings a lot of pressure. In today's video, we're going to talk about 5 important dating tips that everyone should know about. 5 important dating tips that everyone should know about. The first tip that I have is regarding physical appearance. Yes, physical appearance for some reason have blinded a lot of people. So much so that sometimes people are so focused on physical appearance to the point where they don't even have time to get to know the other person. The truth is very simple. The first thing that you see when you first met someone is the physical appearance. But the problem with focusing on the physical appearance is that sometimes you could find somebody who's very beautiful, somebody who's actually your type, right? And the problem with that is that you're gonna focus yourself on how the person look physically to the point where you're not even paying attention about how the person is reacting. Maybe the person is not a good person on the inside. Maybe the person has a bad personality. But for some reason, you're so addicted to how the person looks physically to the point where you become completely blinded over the fact that the person just treated the waiter or the waitress a certain way they're not supposed to. And that's the problem with physical appearance. The second example about physical appearance, sometimes people would meet somebody and they're like, oh, you don't look as the type of person I would date, but since we're already here, we're gonna see how it goes. That type of mentality is so depressing for you to approach somebody and to think that just because they don't look how you expect them to look or how society want them to look, to the point where you're gonna try to put them down. You don't know if the person already have low self-esteem. For you to analyze the entire dating process within how somebody looks, this is definitely not a good way to go. And sometimes you could find somebody just because they don't look exactly how you want them to look physically. That person could have been the love of your life. That person could have been your soulmate. That person could have been the only piece of happiness that you could ever find in your life. But for some reason, just because you decided to be so blinded by physical appearance, guess what? You lost your chance to ever be happy. So stop focusing on physical appearance. Stop focusing on physical appearance. There's a lot more to a person than just how they look. So this is my very first tip. If you are in a dating process, if you are dating someone right now as we speak, it is important to move past that. The older you get, the more you're gonna realize there's way more things to pay attention to other than the physical appearance. The second tip that I have is something that a lot of young boys would probably be familiar with it, is the impression. Sometimes people would find ways to build up a life that they don't have just to give a girl a first impression. The problem with that is further down the road, the girl's gonna understand that you've been a liar the entire time. Because I have stories where guys would tell me that they've rented a car, an expensive vehicle, just because they were about to meet a certain someone. Just because you're trying to build or sculpt some type of idea as far as how you are or how you're living your life doesn't mean that the person's gonna give you a chance to be with them. And I know that a lot of people are completely materialistic, and some men have actually find ways to get into their sleeves and find ways to make women think this is the lifestyle they have. But when you meet somebody who's all about being down to earth, you're gonna find out something that a lot of women or a lot of men might not tell you. I do not believe in anything like that. If you cannot come as yourself, you won't be able to be with me. And that's one of the most important tips. Because if we're going to talk about you being with somebody, where you're going to get up with somebody, go to sleep with that person, talk to that person every day, you're going to have to come with something better than giving the false first impression. Because regardless of how you're trying to hide it, at some point, the person going to realize that, yeah, the entire time we were dating, you never told me that you used to work at McDonald's. And the thing about that is that there's nothing wrong with working at McDonald's. Everybody who's a billionaire right now, if you weren't family given money, which means not everyone were born with money. So don't worry about trying to give the false impression to a girl that you probably really like, because in my understanding, if you don't really want to be with somebody, there would be no reason for you to go through this entire path of trying to prove something that's not even real. So if you really want somebody, if you really want that woman, if you really want that guy, do not try to do things just because you're trying to give them a first flash of a false impression of something that you're probably going to regret. Come as yourself. Tell the person exactly who you are. If they don't like it, that's their business. Imagine this. If you are dating someone at this present moment and they don't understand your worth, that's their loss. Think about that every time you're going on a date. Be yourself, and every time you're dating someone, if they do not see you as a catch, just let them go. The third one is mostly for men. Yeah, I know. I like to say things like that because sometimes I want the ladies to understand that all men are not the same. The reason I felt the need to talk about that is because sometimes a guy will take a young lady out. The process is that sometimes the guy automatically thinks just because he paid for dinner or he paid for a cab or whatever expenses he covered, that the lady automatically needs to give him or provide him with bedroom time. This doesn't work like that. This is not a transaction. We are not paying for bedroom time here. I'm here to get to know you the same way you are supposed to get to know me. It doesn't go any other way around. It's not that I told you have to come to that address or to that hotel, we're gonna get things done. That's not the situation, guys. Despite the fact that a lot of men might not agree with me, they might think that I'm just putting the business out. A lot of guys go on dates expecting to get bedroom times. And that's not good, because at the end of the day, especially if you're meeting somebody who was expecting something better to come out of that date. For you to think just because you paid for the meal, that's enough reason for a woman to give you bedroom time, maybe you shouldn't be dating at all. Maybe you should be looking for something that you could actually pay for. At this point, there's no need to even try to involve love in it, because the mindset of dating is to find somebody to build a life with and eventually spend the rest of your life with. So why are you trying to get some quick thing going on just because you think that I'm spending money so you automatically owe me something? So for that mentality, in my understanding, I choose to blame men because I've seen a lot of men do it. I don't know if the ladies do it too, but if you ladies do the same thing, I would definitely ask you to reconsider. Because at the end of the day, you don't want to be on the losing part of that transaction. The fourth one that I feel the need to talk about is that sometimes I do understand that people sometimes feel like they don't have enough time for them to meet somebody. The older you're getting, the more you're going to start to think about things that you definitely want to accomplish. But the problem with it is, if you are dating, in order for you to really sure about the person, you're going to have to give the dating time. Time is important within the dating process. No matter how you're trying to rush it, no matter how you're trying to push it, if you don't have time, do not even think about dating. Because anytime we're talking about dating, we're talking about two strangers. That's basically what it is. Even if you were to know that person since you were little, but the minute you decided to date, there's a different person from that person you thought you knew that's gonna present themselves. And from that point, you're going to have to start learning everything from that perspective. Because when you really think about dating as a whole, this is something that requires constant work. Just like I've been saying it, you're going to have to keep putting work. And for you to keep putting work and to find positive results, you're going to have to give it time. How are you going to know if the person is even willing to be in a committed relationship if you don't give it time? There are certain reactions that are not coming out between the first 1 to 6 months. You're gonna have to give it time. If you're rushing anything, you're gonna find yourself being on that other table talking to somebody else at least every other month. Because dating is a long process, and if you do not give it time, you don't allow it to flow as it's supposed to, you're gonna end up finding yourself doing a lot of things that you're not supposed to do, regardless of what. And I know that people don't have time, and I know that people don't want to be out there wasting their time. The worst thing is to think that you have found the one 10 years down the line and realize that, man, we got married too early. Man, I ended up having kids with him too early. I've done so many things for this guy, I didn't even know exactly who he was. And by that time, it's not like it's gonna be too late, but it's gonna be a little bit more difficult to even get back into the dating life. As you can see, if you were dating 10 years ago, if you get back in the dating life, it's almost like you don't understand anything that's going on. Let's say like what, 15, 20 years ago, dating used to be like sending letters. Dating had a more sentimental part of it. Now, you just text. When was the last time you've ever heard somebody saying they sent a letter to somebody? Probably 5 times in 10 years. It's like dating is just like literature. The more society is moving, is the more that the dating life is changing. My 4th advice to you is to not rush the dating process. Please, give it time. Do not pressure it. Do not try to push it. And I understand that because of societal norm, you think that you're not gonna be able to do a bunch of stuff. Sister, brother, you will. Only thing you have to do right now is to give it time. Because without time, guess what's gonna happen? You're gonna regret it. The final one, which is also associated with the 4th one, is that when you are dating somebody, don't make them feel like you are a hopeless romantic. Make them feel like it's more you are hopeful romantic. Showing somebody that you are hopeless romantic could actually give the bad vibe. And the reason why I'm saying that is that sometimes people might think that they are the only chance that you got. And by them thinking like that, they automatically start acting on it. You know what I mean? Don't ever make a guy or make a man think that, okay, I really need you to be with me. Do not force anybody. At the end of the day, regardless of how we see it, there's always going to be someone for somebody. Point blank, period. There's always going to be someone for somebody. The way that you're going about it might be a little bit difficult. You might take a little bit of time for you to find your special someone, but there's always going to be a special someone for you. Period. There's no if but about it. It's always gonna be like that. And for you to find somebody to make them think that, okay, I really need you in my life, I don't want you to go anywhere, from the point that you're already putting the person in that level, guess what? You are getting yourself in trouble without realizing, just because you're pushing yourself too much on that person. Let the person know how valuable it is to have you in their lives, not them in yours. Regardless of what, you are the catch. This is the mindset. Anytime you get into that dating game, you are the catch. Anytime you are getting in that dating mindset, you are the catch. You are everything that anybody could have got that is completely perfect. That's the idea. Don't go there throwing yourself, and then next thing you know, you get hurt just because the person is automatically thinking, okay, I'm gonna take advantage of you just because you're showing me too much passion as far as you trying to be with me. This is the mindset. Anytime you get into that dating game, you are the catch. Anytime you are getting in that dating mindset, you are the catch. You are everything that anybody could have got that is completely perfect. That's the idea. We'd like to thank each and every one of you guys who've been with us from the get-go. We appreciate the love, we appreciate the support, we appreciate all the comments on each post. And for those of you that are just coming in, we welcome you to the channel. Feel free to look around, and don't forget to leave us a subscribe and hit the notification bell, because we have so much more to show you. Until then, take care of yourselves and each other. Peace.